Hello, 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 and welcome back to another edition of the Brothers-in-law. It's your boy Corey T, and tonight I'm joined with my brother, Mr. Michael Bradley. For those of you who are new to our channel, Michael and I are both prior law enforcement officers. I did 7 years with the Virginia State Police, and Mike did 26 years, retired from Pleasanton, California Police Department. Again, thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a police-involved shooting that occurred back in February of this year, 2021, in Nevada County. Before we get into it, definitely like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you stay up to date with all our videos that we come out with. And keep those comments coming. And if you like the content of this video, you like what we're doing thus far, please let us know down in the comments below so we know how to improve our channel to help get this word out to you and talk about policing in our communities. So, Mike, you want to set this up, or you want me to set it up?
Yeah, I'll set it up.
Okay, go ahead.
This was this is we like to give you some incidents that happen, and we like to talk to you about the incident, give our view on whether we would have done the same thing, right? That's the whole point of us doing these videos. I like these videos. It is a bit of a Monday morning quarterback, but sometimes as police officers, Monday morning quarterback is really the only way you can train and learn on what to do and what not to do, right? So let me set this up real quick. This shooting happened back in February this year in Nevada County. Nevada County sheriffs handled it. And basically, it sounds like the sheriff's office had gotten a couple of calls for service from two people talking about some woman who was walking with two children in the road, and she was acting bizarre. She had come up to a house that wasn't hers and had a bizarre conversation with one of the reporting parties talking about she felt that she needed to get out of the county or something, take her to the county line or something. She was just saying a bunch of bizarre stuff to where she was clearly in some kind of mental stress, mental health state. We don't know what was going on with her, but we can see that it would be reasonable for someone to call the police on her because she had two very small children with her. She had no car. She was acting bizarre, and she was just walking on the roadway, So naturally, people are going to call about that and like, what, need a welfare check or something like that. So that's where the call comes out. That's how police or sheriff's department gets a word of what's going on. So they dispatch a couple of sheriff deputies to the location where she was. And then that's where we're going to pick this video up of how the sheriffs make contact. They make initial contact with this woman and her two kids. And you're about to see how it's going to unfold. Okay?
And keep in mind, folks, this is a little bit graphic. So if you're sensitive to these type of things, we ask you just to, go ahead and turn it off for right now, and then you can turn it back on in a couple of minutes. But it is graphic, so just be aware of that. The young lady's name is Sage. She was 33 years old. White lady appears to be walking with two young kids. And like Mike said, we're going to pick it up from right there. So here we go.
One Edward 9, do you copy? 1 Edward 9, Nevada County, do you copy? 1 Edward 9, copy.
Now, what you're listening to is the radio traffic from the dispatcher of what's going on, but they're going to pick it up on the body cams in a minute here.
Yeah. And this is the first officer arriving. Now, they didn't have body cams. This is from the in-car video.
In-car video, okay.
Mm-hmm. And there she is off to the left with her two little girls.
Two small children. Now, as an officer, I'm thinking I'm doing a welfare check here. Make sure she's okay. Make sure these two kids are okay. Make sure there's try to figure out what's going on.
I'm not going to touch your piece, but I need you to put your knife away. We're going to have a knife. She has a knife. I'm not going to hurt your face. Hey, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to.
Everyone knows every
Okay, pause it for a second, Corey. Okay. So what's your up to this point, Corey, as an officer? What are you thinking? What are you thinking right now?
Well, at this point, once I got out the car, like he did, he's assuring her, hey, nothing's wrong. You're not in any trouble or anything. He's trying to, cordially walk up to her. And then all of a sudden she pulls out the knife. And then that's when he unholsters.
Right.
Right. We've talked in previous videos that, I'm going to one up you. You may have a knife. I'm going to use my service weapon. I'm not going to use mace, because that would require you to have to get extremely close to me. Now, at the same time, even though he pulls his service weapon, he also had to take into account that those kids are right there. So he can't, I don't believe he wants to do anything, because he's still trying to talk to her and trying to get her to, put the knife away here. Just want to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, I don't see anything wrong. At this point, I mean, like we talked about last week, and you mentioned it before, at this point, her mental issues, yes. I mean, at this point, he had to process all that information so fast that she's got mental issues. I mean, now he's to the point now where, all right, I mean, I can't let her get out of control, because what if she tries to harm the kids?
Right. I'm right there. I'm right there along the same lines. I mean, what I'm thinking of, like I say, in my mind, I'm doing a welfare check initially, right?
Right.
So I get out, and then I see her with a knife. Okay, you just elevated the game when you got this knife in your hand now. You completely changed the dynamic of this contact. This is now no longer just a welfare check. This is a welfare check coupled with a subject who has a deadly weapon in her hand, who is now showing it in a threatening manner. Okay, that's how I'm thinking of it. So you got to think. I'm gonna go from a gun. I might not point it at her right away, but I'm gonna definitely have it ready. And if I got my cover unit there, I'm gonna make sure my cover unit has a taser ready. So that's gonna be out and ready to roll, whatever happens. Because at the same time, and I'm gonna talk about this a little bit, because you got the whole thing about de-escalation and stuff that's going on, talks, right, that you hear about. And this is what de-escalation on the street, dealing with a situation like this, looks like. While I'm ready to use physical force, I am still talking to her, and I'm trying to calm her down. If I can get her to drop that knife so we can talk in a calm manner, so I can further figure out what her mental state is and what's going on, that's great, But at the same time, these officers are on two wavelengths at the same time. One wavelength is she has a knife in her hand in a threatening manner. I might have to shoot her. The other wavelength is I'm going to continue to talk to her to try to calm her down. Right? That's two of them at the same time. And the reason why you got to do that is because things could change in a second. Then you got them two kids, like you said, Corey. You got those two kids in the background, right? If she charged me and I had to shoot her, I'm also worried about the backdrop of them two little kids. So this is all the things that an officer is thinking about just in this moment. Just in this moment, that's a lot of stuff to have to think about, have on your mind, and be ready to go left, right, or straight forward. Right?
You got to be able to process it that quick,
Right.
So, okay, we're going to go ahead.
Okay.
Keep it moving here.
We're not talking. Everyone okay. I'm not saying anything. I just want to help you out.
See, he's just saying, I want to help you out.
Yeah.
Hold up. Zoe, you want back up? Zoe, don't. Hey, we're not. Zoe, you want back up?
See, he's got the taser out.
Yeah, he's ready. And there's another view of another view that you'll see in a minute. But
yeah,
just talk to us. Talk to us. us. Talk to us. Come on.
Kill me now!
I don't want to kill you.
But she's clearly in a manic state.
Shot fired. Let go of the knife. You're not down.
Okay, hold on. Let's unpack that part right there.
Okay.
I mean, you clearly see how irate she was. I mean,
Yeah, clearly in what we call a manic state, where she is just level 50.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you have one officer, and you won't be able. And as we continue the video on the primary officer, the one who was doing all the talking, you would see him backing up. Because he's really not trying to engage her. I mean, and people got to understand, just because, I know some people are probably saying, well, she has a knife and she's a female, he can overtake her. But the problem is, you don't want that person with the knife to get too close to you, because even though you can get shot, you can shoot them, they still have that momentum in them that's still coming towards you, that they can still stab you. Right? So I don't care if you're a male or female. I don't want you to get what is that, the 20-foot rule.
Right.
If you're within 20 feet of me, you still have the potential of injuring me or killing me. So I don't want you to get that close to me. So, and that's why they're backing up. That's why you seen when she then turned and went after the officer with the taser. And he ran because he didn't want her to get close to him, because even though she's a woman, doesn't mean, he's still got to be quick enough to get to her hands to
right. If I gotta wrestle a knife out of your hands, I never want to get in that position.
No,
right?
you never want to get in that. No, and
I'm not trying to wrestle a knife out of your hands. You know what I'm saying?
And like we said, last week when we were talking about the taser and everything, here again, you've seen a prime example where the taser didn't work.
Right.
Right.
He tried it, didn't work. Perfect example, like you said. Taser is not 100% effective.
Nope.
You might use the taser, realize it's not working all within a matter of seconds, and you might have to shoot her with a gun. So that's how fast it goes.
He had the primary officer, the one that shot. I mean, he didn't want to do it, and you'll see here in a second here when we start the video back up. His partner is running for his life, right? Yeah. What are you gonna do? Just stand there? No, you got to stop the threat. She's a threat. Mm-hmm. Yes, we identified that she's had mental issue, but at this point, like we talked about in last week's video, Mike clearly stated that once you get to that point of doing something to endanger, yourself or somebody else, I mean, the police officer has the duty to stop the threat. She's clearly going after him with the knife. You see the knife in the video. She's a threat.
And keep in mind, de-escalation, he is actually trying to de-escalate at the same time. That's by talking to her, trying to say things to her in hopes of trying to calm her down and change her thinking and make her realize that she's doing something too much, right? So he's trying to de-escalate that situation. There is clearly de-escalation in there. But keep in mind, de-escalation only goes so far, number one. And number two, she may not give him, there's going to be a point where she doesn't give them any more time to de-escalate. They have to take action. You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, clearly when she starts going after the other deputy, I mean, that they had to take some type of action. Either she was going to get too close to him and stab him, and then ultimately kill him. That's the way I see this so far.
Kill him or seriously injure him. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're trying to avoid, right?
Exactly. All right, here we go.
All right.
Hey, don't back. Hey, back up. Take a breather. Hey.
And now the kid's running in there.
Put her at gunpoint. Put her.
Here's the second.
Well, here,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Initial contact, get out, and here we go. This is the angle. This is a good angle too.
You see him backing up now?
Yeah,
She's
so
coming
he
towards.
realizing this is something more going on here. This woman is not normal. Wait, pause it for a second. And again, I don't know if I said this the last time, but when she starts yelling like that, now you also thinking, like you said earlier, Corey, you're thinking of the safety of the kids. You see what I'm saying? She's in this obviously manic mental health type state. Well, now we're committed for sure. We're definitely not going to just let her walk away with these two kids. We now also have to be concerned about the safety of these two kids. Could
Right.
she do something to hurt these two kids? We don't know.
Absolutely. She could.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Everyone knows who you are. You can't hide from that. Allah Akbar. Don't you fucking get
Put the knife down. Put the knife down.
fucking give me my baby.
Put the knife down. Put the knife down.
And as you said, the guy with the gun, he doesn't want to engage her. That's why he keeps backing
Right.
up.
Right.
He's trying to extend his time to de-escalate. He tries to tase her,
See?
and then she attacks. She goes after him,
There she goes down.
and he shoots her.
Put the knife down.
Now,
All the while, you got these kids loosely running around, so they're
Yeah.
constantly thinking about that while maintaining focus on the armed person here. And yes,
Right, and
folks,
you
having
see-
a knife is armed. Okay.
yeah, she was armed and she was clearly running after him. As soon as he shot the taser and saw that it was ineffective, I mean, he had a millisecond to turn around and just start getting out of the way of possibly getting stabbed. And the partner, the first on scene deputy, I mean, he did the right thing. I mean, he had to stop her because she was getting ready to get right up on him. It's just unfortunate that
the taser
and-
didn't work, and now
No.
there it was.
there you go. I mean, the escalation taser didn't work. What's the next level of force to use? You have to go to the service weapon because at this point, you know, he's got to think about his partner who
You
could
gotta,
possibly
that's
end up getting
above
hurt.
all, right? Above all, you got to
Right.
prevent anyone from having serious injury. It's so sad that these kids have to witness that, and them officers know that. Them officers know that. However,
Yeah.
to the average citizen, it might look like these officers are just focused on her and they're not thinking about their kids. As an
Right.
officer, I would be focused on her only because she's the armed person. But you better believe I'm thinking about where those kids are, and it's also affecting me how these kids had to just witness their mother being shot. That's all affecting the officer in a bad way. But those officers still have to maintain focus and do what they need to do. So as you'll see it when Corey pressed the play here button on the video, they'll wait for her because she still has a knife in her hand. Okay, people need to understand medical personnel will not take any action until the scene is made safe. That's including the person that is injured. If that person that is injured still has a weapon in their hand, medical personnel won't come and take any action. Okay,
Oh no.
So she has to drop that knife and be cleared and made safe before they can even go up and do first aid on her. And that's what you're about to see.
All right, here we go. And that lady that's running there, that's the lady. I think she was the primary caller. She was the one following them.
Okay. I'm glad she came up and tried to help with those two kids.
Oh
That's
yeah.
that's a priority also, not just giving her first aid, but securing those two kids and try to get them away from seeing more than they need to. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
And that's why they put them in the back of that patrol car, because they don't want those kids.
All right, hold up, Mike. Hold on, Mike. Hold on. Let me stop. Hold on. Listen. I backed it up because I want you to hear this officer once they get the kids in the car.
Okay.
Yes, you heard he dropped the F-bomb, and why did he do that? Because he's upset. He didn't want to have to do this, right? Just like you just said a few seconds ago, Mike. You know, doing this in front of the kids, having to shoot the mother like that is not something he wanted to do, because I guarantee he's probably a dad himself and has kids himself, and you know, to do that, that's something a child should never have to see.
Right. And he knows that. He knows that.
And he knows that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's clearly why, you know, he dropped the F-bomb like that. You know, it's just, you know, and he's got to live with that.
Right.
Yeah, he's got to live with that for the rest of his life. You know, that, you know, and you know, I believe the kids have lost their father too, so now the kids are fatherless and motherless now. And it's sad.
I would be mad too. If I was that officer, I would be upset.
Oh yeah.
At the same time, it's like, how dare this mother put these two kids in this position for something like this to happen? That's how.
I mean, she's got, you know, mental health issues. So how much blame you can't really put blame on her, right?
I understand.
We don't know her mental state. I mean, obviously she wasn't, you know, playing with a full deck of cards from whatever the issue was going on in her life. But clearly, I mean, they wanted to give her help. I mean, you've seen it all through here. They were backing up from. They didn't want to escalate the situation, right?
And they couldn't just let her go. They need to understand that too. They couldn't
not
just
after.
let her
I mean,
go. Not after that. Because now,
even if,
go ahead.
I was gonna say real quick. Even if she didn't pull the knife, they couldn't let her go. If she was just talking the way she was talking without the weapon, like, you know, she was rambling off, you know, a lot of stuff that didn't make sense, and that's another indicator too that something's, you know, going on with her mentally, right?
So even they had to take care of them kids and make sure those kids
right. And so, I mean, even if she didn't, in my opinion, I don't think they would have let her go, even if she didn't pull out the knife. I mean, because clearly there was something wrong, and clearly, if, you know, she didn't pull out a weapon, I firmly believe that they would have got her the help that she needed, because we did the same thing, man. Be people walking up on the interstate, and we get off, you make a couple phone calls to the city guys. Hey, what do you guys got here in this location for a mental health case? 9 times we just took them to the hospital, or we took them to a homeless shelter or something like that, where they could get the care and attention that they needed. And I'm pretty sure that they probably would have got a hold of some family members if she had any locally.
If they had that kind of
help.
time and she was calm enough to manage
But
that,
they
yeah,
didn't.
I'm calling a family member to take care of the kids, you know. But she changed that situation with that one. Once she had that weapon in her hand, that changed that whole dynamic there. I mean, even though they tried to continue to de-escalate and talk to her and try to calm her down, she wasn't going down. She was only going up.
Yeah, she was going up, and they have to react to that.
Now, some people might say this would have been a good situation to have maybe a mental health professional riding with the officer to be able to, you know, address this woman. But I'm not sure that would have made a difference in this situation because, well, I don't know. You figure a mental health professional probably wouldn't have a uniform on. Now, the officers have a uniform on. Maybe she felt threatened by the uniform. I don't know, right? But the question is, would the mental health professional been able to talk her down or not? If not, the same outcome would have happened here. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, because you're talking more like at this point, you know, she probably been talking to her like, you know, a hostage situation here, trying to negotiate to calm her down to get her, you know. But I think this young lady here, Miss Sage, already had it in her mind that she wasn't going with anybody. Right? She's yelling Allahu Akbar. Usually that's an indicator that, you know, hey,
I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. Yeah. And if I'm gonna go out, you know, God be the glory. I mean, so to me, it sounded like it very well could have been another case of, you know, suicide by cops. You know, so I'm with you. I don't know if it would have made a difference if you had somebody there to kind of help talk her down, because you've seen how fast this happened. I mean, she wasn't trying to hear nobody.
She was out there.
Oh yeah, so
it's sad. It's so sad that it had to happen. But go ahead and play.
It is. All right, here we go.
Look at me. I want to get you medical help. We need you to drop the knife. Are you still passing on the taser? My taser's down there. It didn't take. Okay. She charged me as soon as it went on. Okay.
I'm gonna skip forward just a second here.
Okay. Right now, folks, they're trying to get her to still put down the knife. Even though she's shot, she's still obviously alert and on the ground with a knife in her hand. And they're trying to get her to put that knife down. Now they finally get her to put the knife down and they start rendering it.
So it's about 4.5 minutes that they call rescue. That rescue arrived on scene.
Okay.
All right. Now she later died at the hospital due to her injuries.
I want to thank the citizen who stepped in to comfort the children during this traumatic and tragic incident. So we'll start by Leah Shank, LEIA-SCHENK, founder of Impact EMP.
Hold on, let me. Now this lady here, y'all, she's a community activist. She's a founder of some impact organization out in California, and she's here to speak on the family's behalf. And just want you to listen to what she's saying, what she's saying, and what you all just watched. And now you're going to see why I have a problem with people just running out in front of the cameras, just saying anything and don't know nothing.
And also keep in mind, when we just explained that video, what we saw happening, we were also giving you what would have been in our minds as an officer who would have been on the scene and faced with the same circumstances. So go ahead. And real quick, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to them officers, but that's why we're just telling you what we would have done. Now, if them officers got fired or if them officers did something against their department policy or something, I don't know. I don't know about their department policy, what that would have happened. But I'm just telling you what we would have done if we were in their shoes. Go ahead.
Sister, and then we also have another person that's a part of my team behind me as well. Just for the purposes of today, the family has requested that we call her Sage Crawford, which was what she preferred to go by. So that's what you'll hear us refer to her as. And that's SAGE Crawford, just like the behind me, CRAWFORD.
Here we go.
Thursday, as you all know, Sage was walking down the street with her two minor children, and she was approached by two officers that eventually gunned her down and shot her dead right here where we're standing right now. What we want you all to understand and what we want you to focus on.
Now we know that's not quite what happened.
She was a sister. She loved her children.
Yeah.
She took the best care of her children that she was able to do with the resources that she had available to her. Irregardless of what the narrative is when it comes to Nevada County Sheriff, we know that whatever the case was here last Thursday, Sage did not deserve to be gunned down in front of her children, which is an image that they will never forget. Those children have lost their father. They have now lost their mother. What happened last Thursday is an indication of us as women.
There's a knife.
How we are not safe, how we are not protected. And when law enforcement is called, they don't come out to help the situation. They didn't come out to see what Sage needed or what she was afraid of. They came out and treated her like a criminal.
You're not in trouble or anything like that.
They had no regard for the children that they shot over to get to her. No regard for the impact and the trauma that those children will live with for the rest of their life. They had no regard for that. They have no regard for this family standing behind me as they have not given them answers. This family has traveled all the way up from Southern California. This family loved their daughter, their sister. She was somebody that was loved. And regardless of any mistakes we make in life, regardless of any adversities we have in life, because we've all had them, none of us deserve to be shot and murdered in front of our children. And that's what I want you all to remember, because that's what happened here. There was no de-escalation. None. And although we have not privy to whatever video it is they have, they told us it's not ready yet. What does that mean? Why does the video have to get ready? Whatever you have, we want to see it. We want to see it just as it was taken. We don't want it to be doctored. We don't want it to be manipulated in any way. We want to see it exactly the way it is. And I have a personal message to Moon here in this county, who did her press release, who did her video and posted on social media and never once mentioned the children. Never once. No regard. No respect.
Good afternoon, Nevada County. I am your Sheriff, Shannon Moon. As you may know, yesterday your Sheriff's Office was involved in a deputy-involved shooting in Altus.
Clearly, Sheriff spoke.
This was a rapidly evolving incident that unfortunately led to the loss of a young lady.
Why is there not the mental illness unit that is here in this county? Why did they not show up to help her? Why didn't you shoot her in the leg? Why didn't you shoot her in the arm?
Okay.
Why did you shoot to kill?
All right.
Those are the.
Let's see. So it's a lot to unpack, right?
Oh yeah, it's a whole lot to unpack. I mean, starting off with no de-escalation techniques. I mean, no de-escalation tried at all. They tried to de-escalate that as soon as they got on scene. As soon as they saw that she was, not quite right, they immediately start de-escalation. That's what talking is. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't understand what de-escalation is, but it's talking. It's talking to someone, using words to try to calm them down. Ultimately, that's what you want to do. De-escalate that person. So, and then she said something about and we had mentioned this too, Corey, about where were the mental health professionals? Why didn't they respond to the scene? Well, our viewers could see how fast this unfolded. Number one. Number two, they don't have a mental health professional riding around in their cars with them. If they did, yeah, perhaps the mental health person could have made a difference, or maybe not. We don't know. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So basically, the deputy was the mental health person when he was trying to de-escalate and calm this woman down to figure out what's going on and what action he needs to take. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, it went from.
Go ahead.
I said it went from 0 to 99 in 2 seconds, like you said. As soon as he got on scene, I mean, he was calm. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't screaming at her. He just, hey, you're not in any trouble. Just want to talk to you, right? Real soft, monotone voice. And like you said, that's all de-escalation. And then this is why you can't rush to judgment before everything comes out. Clearly, yes, the family is heartbroken. They want answers. I get that.
Absolutely.
But when you get people like this who come out and know nothing about what unfolded, what happened, she just made a fool out of herself, in my opinion, because you talking about stuff that you didn't even see the video. So how are you gonna say they didn't try to de-escalate anything? They just shot her cold blood. No, these men, one deputy was running from the woman because she coming at her with a knife. Yeah. So I mean, and then she says, Mike, well, they should have shot her in the leg. They could have shot her in the arm. No, you shoot center mass. That's where officers are trained. Officers of the military, personnel are always trained to shoot center mass. Why? Because that's the biggest part.
That's right. That's the larger part of that's the largest target that you are most likely going to hit. Keep in mind, what if that officer would have tried to aim at her leg or something and missed, and the bullet hit the kid in the background? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Or something, anything like that could have happened. You got to take all of that into consideration too. That is why officers trained to shoot center mass, the biggest part of the body. You see what I'm saying? The biggest part,
right? I mean, you keep in mind they have to. I just want to say real quick, Mike, they have to account for every round that comes out of that weapon. All right. So you can't just aim for the leg because the legs are moving. Right? You're not going to be able to hit that target as well as you would the upper torso, and that's why we aim for the center mass. My bad. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh no, I was just going to say, like you said, center mass is the biggest target. So another thing is you always got to consider your backdrop. Like I was saying, if you miss, and those kids, you got these kids running around loosely, might hit them kids. You want to avoid that. I think this woman, especially when she started off saying, woman was walking down the street with her 2 kids, officers showed up and murdered her. That's how she put it out, basically.
Right.
And there's a lot, you got to understand, there was a whole lot of in between that led up to that, what she just said. The way she said it is going to spark outrage in the community naturally. Because that's how she made it sound. These officers just showed up, didn't do nothing, didn't try to help this woman. They just showed up.
Shot her cold. Just showed and notice you notice she didn't mention any weapons. She didn't mention that
she made no mention of how the woman had a knife. She made no mention of how the woman attacked an officer with the knife. No mention of that at all. Now I don't know if she didn't know that. Maybe she didn't have that information. Which
I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that she didn't know because she's an activist. So she, in my opinion, she's just out here to try to stir up division within the community. That the law enforcement out here just to commit murder. That just going on with that same narrative that police are out here just gunning people down all willy nilly. Right, black and white, because this wasn't a black lady that got killed. This was a white lady that got gunned down. Well, I don't even say gunned down. They got shot and killed. And so, she's an activist. This group she's part of is also an affiliate of Black Lives Matter, because that's like, man, I had to look the organization up, and they're an affiliate of Black Lives Matter. I was like, okay, now that makes sense why she's talking the way she's talking. Just trying to use certain verbiage to, like you said, to upset the community. Right, to spark outrage, upset the community, and to continue on with the bashing of the police. Like, again, like these guys get up every morning and just say, "Oh, how many people I'm gonna kill today? Oh, I think I'm just gonna kill me a white girl today. I got me a black guy last week." Nobody does that. And these people make me sick when they come out here and just spewing this mess, and she hadn't seen the video yet.
Yeah,
Clearly, if you listen to how she's talked, she hadn't seen the video, but she's out here putting out misinformation, right? And she hadn't seen the video. Now, I hope by now she's gotten a chance to see the video. Now she can go to YouTube here and go to our channel, Brothas-in-law, and check it out.
Yeah. Well, not only that, sometimes we gotta also realize, Corey, that some people would see that video. The average citizen, there are some average citizens who would see that video and still not understand why that officer had to shoot her. That's just how they think. Not even
True.
if you explain to them, the logic behind it and the positions that those officers would be put in and the decisions that they had to make to shoot her, they still wouldn't look at that and understand that. And that's unfortunate. No. It is what it is. But yeah. Again, I understand the passion and the anger that the community would have as far as when you just look at a woman was killed and her kids had to watch. That's shocking to most citizens, right? Very shocking. That shocks the conscience. But keep in mind, that's shocking to an officer too. No matter how much stuff officers have seen throughout their careers, especially when you're dealing with two kids. If I had to shoot a parent in front of their two children, that would be horrible for me. You see what I'm saying? Not that I wouldn't do it if I was put in the position where I had to, okay? But it would still do a number on my mind just like anybody else. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, officers might be put in a position to where they have to shoot somebody in front of their kids, such as this situation right here. As tragic as it is. Now, real quick, I wanted to say something about, we also carried beanbag shotguns. A shotgun that, for the viewers who don't know, it's basically a shotgun that shoots beanbags, out of it instead of bullets. A beanbag shotgun can do some great bodily damage or kill someone too, but it's less lethal than a firearm, obviously. However, I don't know, every agency may not carry beanbag shotguns in their cars. We didn't. The agency that I worked for didn't always carry beanbag shotguns in their cars, but at some point we came to a point where we started every car had a beanbag shotgun. And in that situation, when you come to a scene like this, you notice you have one officer said, "I got lethal," which is the firearm, and the other said, "I got taser." So they already are prepared for whatever is going to happen. Now, if you have the luxury, you might say, okay, you have a third officer says, "I got a beanbag shotgun." So now you got all levels covered. Lethal, which is a firearm, less lethal, which is you got a taser, and another less lethal, which is a beanbag shotgun. Now, somebody with a knife, you could have, if they had the beanbag shotgun, they could have shot that woman with a beanbag instead of a firearm. At which case, when we trained with the beanbag shotgun, we didn't always train to shoot center mass. We trained to shoot in the most meaty areas of the body, basically. Your thighs, your upper torso, and the upper portions of your arm. You can also use a beanbag to be a lethal weapon if you shoot him in the head. Okay, but not every officer has those, and they didn't have it in this situation, and it may not have worked anyway. Who knows, right? But not only addressing that, because some citizens might say, "Well, what happened to the beanbag shotgun?" Just understand, not every agency maybe don't carry those and didn't have that at their disposal. But that doesn't mean that what they did was wrong. You know what I'm saying? These officers, in my opinion, did everything that I would have done if I was in their shoes and faced with that situation, as tragic as it is.
Yeah, and I probably would have done the same thing, though, as a reasonable officer, right? And that's what we're always talking about. So the rest of the video is just her continue on with the news press conference, and then she's taking some Q&A, but I'll leave the link below. So if you want to go back and watch the entirety yourself and develop your own opinion about it, you can do so. But let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you think this was a justified shooting? Would a mental health provider done any good in this type of situation now that you see how fast these things can escalate? So yeah, we'd like to hear your comments, what you think. So again, do you think this was a justified shooting, and would a mental health provider would have made any difference in this? Let us know. Again, like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Mike and I thank you for tuning in tonight. Hey, let us know what you think about our shirts. We got two colors here, black and blue. Brothers-in-law. On the back, oh, I don't think I can see. Can you see the back, Mike?
Yeah, it's got our acronym CALM. Stay calm, comply, answer questions, listen, and move on. Yeah.
And move on. So let us know what you think about it. And if you like it, let us know again. And eventually we'll get these out. And if you'd like to purchase one to kind of help us out with our channel and some other things we're looking at doing to get this acronym out there, teaching CALM to schools and to the community centers and everything out here between here on the East Coast and out there to Mike on the West Coast. Let us know what you think. Mike, you got any last words?
Well, again, we'd like to show you these videos because we want to give you what's in the mind of an officer. What is the mindset of an officer in any particular situation? And I hope we were able to do that. Whether or not you agree or disagree with what you saw in this video, I'm glad we were at least able to tell you what we would have been thinking as an officer faced with that particular situation. And that's common. That's what we consider ourselves reasonable officers.
Reasonable.
Right. And again, I don't know what happened to these officers. I don't know the outcome of whether they were, found. Obviously every shooting is investigated. Every officer is placed on administrative leave after a shooting. That's just common practice.
Protocol,
protocol. So I don't know what happened to them. I assume that they were not found to have done anything wrong, but I don't know. Maybe, there could have been a department policy or something. I don't know. But again, in the situation, no matter what happened to those officers, this is what we would have done as a reasonable officer. I can see why we saw what we saw, why it happened. So just keep that in mind.
Why it unfolded that way. Yeah. So again, thank you all for watching. And we'll be back next week with another video talking more about policing in the communities and how we can make things better, what's right and what's wrong. Until then, y'all have a blessed week and weekend, and we'll see y'all next week.
All right. Peace out.